Yes.
See me okay?
Yes.
All right. I think we got it recording and it's taking notes. I like this a little bit better than StreamYard. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's nice.
That's good. So I probably forgot all the questions I told you I was going to ask you.
That's okay.
but you probably remember them. So, but I guess the first question I just thought of another question is okay. Before we get too far in this, I'm Jim Watley. This is Molly Dorr. She's just a point of clarification. She is my niece through my wife, Donna. Her sister was Jerry, who was Molly's mother. So if before we just jump in and start asking random questions and go.
That's how we know each other.
Yeah, and we go off script before we even get on the script.
Yes, so, and I'm not a client of yours only because I live in New Jersey and you live in Florida.
Yeah, so but that's fine too. You know what I mean? You got to pick people you can get along with. Maybe you know me well enough not to use me. I don't know. So the question, okay, so I kind of wanted to focus on the searching, how you did your searching and how you determined what you were going to look at and how you were going to look at each one of the properties, and then kind of like tell the story of the arc of all the crazy stuff you wanted. Mm-hmm. Then when you figured out what you needed and how you started letting go of the things you wanted.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. So my husband and I, we were renting, and I've been renting since 2014 when I moved up to this area. And I've been renting in different areas and realizing that this one area was a place that I thought I could see growing a family, great school district, close to Manhattan. You can get there in about 25 minutes, about 12 miles away, very accessible community. So we honed in on that right away. We really weren't, our net was not too wide. And I think that helped us kind of focus, because it's easy to lose focus in the real estate market because you see things that you can't afford. And you see things
that you want them, right?
Yeah. Of course. And you see things you can afford, and you get disappointed quickly because you realize what your money is worth in the current market. And I think that the way we searched is we would find a listing that we thought the pictures looked good. We would Google the address and see if it was a good distance, to the schools we liked and the area we wanted. And then we would send it to our realtor and say, what do you think about this one? And get her opinion. And she would either say, oh, no, I just don't think it's right for you because you said you didn't want a swimming pool, for example. And then we'd say, well, but we'll take a swimming pool if, so we actually, I think we were very confused, honestly. I mean, we were all over the place, up and down. And I think she was confused because we weren't focused. So I think that was our biggest problem in the search process. And once we honed in on that, we had more success.
But this is probably my philosophy is I just show anything to anybody that wants to see something, even if I know that they don't want it, because you can tell somebody that they don't want it.
Right.
But they might not believe you because what they saw online, they want. You know, it's like a car ad or any other kind of ad, it looks great driving down the street, you know what I mean? It looks wonderful, but there's a difference between the house you see online and the house that you see when you get there. And the drive up is important. The looking at the other homes, looking at the surrounding. I think and this is going to sound unlike me, I guess, it's the vibe. You know what I mean? Because
totally.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because you start looking around and you're thinking, yeah, I could live here. Yeah, I mean, this looks like a nice neighborhood. This is, you know what I mean? It's got tree lined streets and so on and so forth. And then you like the front elevation of the home. You know, it looks inviting. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to buy an ugly home.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's got to suit a lot of things. So what I would say is, how was your perception of the pictures and then the perception of the home when you got there?
Perception of the photos would be, and this matched what our realtor said because we sent her the listing and she went and saw it right away. It wasn't even, it was coming soon, and she knew the realtor. She had a relationship, so they let her go and take a look at it before it actually hit the market, before the full photos got released. So there were like 3 photos. And she said, it's very dated, but it's very clean. And she said, I don't see any issues. And clean was the word we were looking for, because a lot of homes that we looked at were just not kept well, and almost to the point that you worried about what went on. Was it a hoarding situation, or, things like that that might be unhealthy. So when she said it was clean, we felt like that was a good place to start. Anything else we felt like we could fix, an update. So that was the pictures definitely matched the home. I felt like I was looking, when I went to the home for the first time, I felt like I was looking at the pictures. I felt like it was accurate.
So this is what I think, and this is just what I think. And I've this is, you might think it's funny, is I know you remember your mother had these theories. So when Donna and I are walking, I start going, now, I said, now I'm starting to channel Jerry and have Jerry theories. And so my theory is, when you walk up to the house, the yard will almost tell you everything you need to know. If you walk up, the yard is well maintained. It might not be your taste in the yard, but if everything is clean, neat, and everything like that, I think that transfers from the outside to the end. The front yard is a picture of the way the house was probably kept. And that's just a theory that I kind of have, because I walk into a house, see the house, I look at it, I look at the roof, I look at the yard, I look at all that. I can pretty much tell you what I think the house is going to be like once we get in there. They usually match. You know what I mean? If the yard's a mess, the house is a mess. If the yard's immaculate, the house is immaculate. Now, did you find that any correlation between that, or do you ever even think of that?
So yes, when we were searching outside of this community, I do agree with your theory. In this particular community, it's an HOA community. So they maintain everything on the outside. So that's a totally different story. But when we were looking at other homes, 100%, I agree with that. That if they maintain the yard and it was well kept, and the bushes were trimmed and everything, and nothing was overgrown, the house definitely reflected that. You could tell they cared. And that reflected in the quality of the work and the quality of the appliances that were in the homes. You could tell they didn't just slap paint on, they took their time with the trim and everything. I mean, all those things are cosmetic, right? We can redo that, but it costs money to redo. And when you're overpaying for a house, those little things matter sometimes,
I would say they really matter when you're overpaying for a house.
Yeah.
So, okay. Was there anything that during the process of searching online that you would have liked better that you didn't get?
Yes. So, for example, in the descriptions of the listings, I feel like are sometimes copied and pasted. For example, in this particular home, in this neighborhood, they're all 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath houses. That's every single one in this neighborhood. There's over 500 homes here. Now, in the description, it says 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath home could convert into a 3-bedroom. Then when you look at the contract for the home and the HOA contract, it says cannot have a 3rd bedroom. So I'm thinking, and they did it in 2 places. They did it with that and they did it with the attic. So the attic, the roof is owned by the HOA. So we cannot legally access the attic. We can't put anything in it. So they had that on the description. They said large attic, great for storage. And I'm thinking, the contract for the HOA says exactly no storing anything in the attic could cause structural damage. So, and even in this home, you know, this was the original owner for 24 years when this community was built. They actually built a legal staircase into the attic with a large opening for the staircase to come down. So when they got the CO, they actually had to fix that. They had to put a different hatch in and make the space smaller. So the house we saw with the staircase that came down, oh, wow, look at this great attic. No, we can't use it. So it was almost like they kind of pulled the rug out from under us a little bit because we thought, oh, great, we could build a 3rd bedroom. It's big enough up here, you know, in this bonus space. No.
I guess you didn't read that small fine print at the bottom of the MLS sheets where it says we try to be accurate, but we can't be held liable for being accurate.
These are big issues. This realtor sells a lot of homes in this community. You know, she's not new to this community. So that's why I felt like it was copied and pasted from an old listing.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's difficult to differentiate with what's fact and what's fiction sometimes in the real estate puffery and remarks. And first of all, I think potentially most remarks are pretty boring and uninteresting. You know what I mean? None of them inspire you to go look at the house, and they're not fun. You know what I mean? It's a close to shopping, close to blah, you know what I mean? It's just blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And the thing that I think they forget about is people are buying the house, people are going to live in the house, and people are going to have fun in the house, and people are going to do things or live their life in there. They're going to celebrate. They're going to be sad in the house. They're all of the emotions that they do over a period of time, they do in that house which becomes a home. And it's difficult when you just call it a 4-3, you know what I mean? Or 2-2 or whatever. But, you know, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a crazy business, and you have a meeting of high expectations and a lot of times low delivery on what they should be telling you. And it sounds like you had a real estate agent that was open, honest, and transparent with you, who told you what to expect and tried to educate you along the way.
She did. She was a trooper. She went through a lot with us, you know, because we were constantly changing our budget, changing our minds, you know, telling her, oh, we'll take a swimming pool. You know, she was just with us the whole way. She could have easily said, you know what, this isn't for me. You know, I think you guys would be better suited with a different type of realtor, you know, which she, I guess, could have said. She didn't. She hung in there with us, and we finally bought it. It paid off. It was a 2-year commitment for her, you know.
So that leads to the next question that I have that I probably didn't write down earlier, but was there a financial shock once you got into the home and started paying the bills and stuff like that? And did it change your lifestyle because now you're a homeowner?
So for full transparency, we live in like a a condo, like a townhouse, and it's
Yeah.
a 3-unit. There's 3 of us in this 1 unit. And there's a gentleman in the middle, and he paid about $400,000 less than us back in 2020 during the pandemic. And he is in the middle, he's not on one of the ends like us.
Uh-huh.
A different home, different configuration, but that's a big difference, and I don't think I realized how much we were actually overpaying for the same home that he had, technically kind of the same home that he has, because I didn't look at what people paid just a few years ago. And I started to think to myself, are we ever going to make the money back on this home? Because he's definitely going to make money when he sells his home is appreciated 3 times what he paid.
Well,
So,
but it was a different time, and it depends on where you were buying. I think New York and New Jersey was completely different in the pandemic than it was in Florida and where we were. You guys are experiencing where people are multiple offers now and paying above asking. During the pandemic, that's what we were doing. We're not doing that. We are seeing prices go down now
okay.
slightly.
Wow. That's
And
great.
and days on market have gone up significantly.
Wow.
You got homes on the market over 100 days, and really, during the pandemic, homes sold in hours. Now they sell in months.
Yes.
Which is a difference. And you guys are they're selling in hours and not months. I don't know exactly what the market was, but I knew a lot of people were leaving the northern New Jersey, New York area. And you know what I mean? So it could have just been dumb luck for him. You know what I mean? He
Yes.
bought, who knows?
Yeah. Back to your original question of the shock of the price of things that we had to pay when we got into the house. So I felt like our realtor and our realtor and our lawyer, our attorney, I guess they called it. I felt like they did a really good job at managing our expectations of what our costs were going to be, and also our lender. I felt like he was very communicative and transparent about what our mortgage was going to be. He walked through with us several times the breakdown of all the costs of every little thing, down to clerical work and all of the fees that we were paying that wrapped up into our mortgage. When we got into the house, I felt like I was prepared, for what we needed to pay per month. And we had settled on this budget based on what we were previously paying in rent. So I felt like the only thing that was a shock was our electric bill, because it was a lot different than an apartment. But we actually received something pretty interesting, which in this area, we lived in a community that was populated by the Hispanic community. And they had a grant for people who lived in that community if you bought a house in New Jersey, you got $8,000 off your closing costs. So we were lucky to take advantage of that because we lived in that zip code. So we kind of had that as our cushion, and we said, okay, at least we can knock off 8,000 and we'll have 8,000 in our pocket that we can use for random things that come up if we have extra, unknown expenses.
But you didn't have to be Hispanic. You just
No.
had to have lived in that area.
Yes, but they were doing it for that community to allow them to, allow the community to be able to purchase a home, an extra incentive to become a homeowner.
Yeah, well, bueno. So we don't want to make this too long. I think we kind of covered looking and kind of what you online, inline, and stuff like that. One last question. Now, I know your mom was born in Nutley. Donna was born in Nutley.
Mhm.
Your grandmother was born in Nutley. So did that have a special draw for you to to, was that of any influence to you?
Yes, 100%. Because they were born here and lived here for a little bit of time, we have other family that's here currently. And I think both things were a draw. Definitely, we honed in on the elementary school that my mom and my grandma went to. I don't think Donna got to go to that elementary school before they moved,
Yeah.
but we zoned in on that community because of that elementary school, because it's zoned for that. I kind of felt this connection, oh, wow, maybe someday my kids will get to go to the same school my mom and my grandma went to, kind of coming full circle, not having lived in this community myself, or gone to that school.
Uh-huh.
I feel
and you'd never really lived in the Northeast other than the Virginia area. That's kind of mid-Atlantic until after you graduated from college, but you always had the desire to go to New York and work in New York. So you did. And there you are.
Life is funny that way, where you just kind of find yourself places, and I just stuck it out and ended up, I didn't think I'd be back in the suburbs. I thought I'd own an apartment in Manhattan, but if you look at the prices in Manhattan, oh my goodness, you can't even buy a studio apartment for $600,000. It is outrageous right now. So the suburbs are attractive in the taxes, a lot less in taxes than in New York City. It's cost of living, the price of eggs, so still a lot, but a lot less than Manhattan for sure. But, you get it, it's a trade-off, because that's a cool lifestyle to get to live. So.
Great. Well, it was a pleasure again. And hopefully maybe next week you'll do another one.
Okay. It's our weekly podcast.
Yeah. All right. Well, take care, Molly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.